I hold a 16-gauge surgical needle over V's chest, a long steel thorn, both imposing and slight. As I move my legs to straddle over his waist, my other hand clutches the base of V's throat, squeezing just enough to slow time through the density of his breaths. Both clad in leather pants, our skins rub, creases grip. My clit piercing lands on mark. My belt buckle digs into my navel as I lean into the choke, the pressure not altogether uncomfortable. The smell of moist pits and tannins and candle wax fills my nostrils. I release the pressure on V's neck, and he drinks in the thick air. Our faces are intimately close. Lips are open, but we never kiss, not ever. The tension held between us, a short but immeasurable space, was a negotiation, a power we each, top and bottom, owned. Sadomasochism threads the space between hunger and protocol, desire and denial. I pull away slowly, as if putty stretched between us. I've already prepared V's chest with brown swipes of iodine to medically cleanse the skin and to mark the path of needles.
What the fuck?
Grasping a bare 2 centimeters of fascia between my left thumb and forefinger, the needle is ready to push through one side of the epidermal ridge to the other. Take a deep breath, in through your nose, and let it out slowly through your mouth. A forced but controlled exhale to stoke intention. When I push the needle in, I want you to continue this breath. Imagine a new opening to press in that desire. Thank you, Cass. Thank you, Laura, for opening spaces in academia for sex workers and queer leather folks. And thank you to Clags and CUNY for hosting Kink Out and myself. I want to wish everyone a sound Lunar New Year as we enter the year of snake and evoke metamorphosis. I am so honored to be part of this triangulated conversation with Avi and Cassandra. I was introduced to Avi's writing years ago in a kink reading group. Many dominatrixes are nerds in leather. We are constantly trying to define our BDSM quest because the practice of kink is the constant questioning of the body, the mind, the taboo, erotic, the abject, and the mundane, as well as the complication of sex work, power, and capitalism. Many of us wrestle with internalized and assaultive projections of racialized sexuality, gender binaries, and trauma.
Gender binaries?
Avi's
Wow.
writings are so thrilling because she's not giving us easy answers, which is very tease and denial. But her work is steering us with generative questions and exquisite concepts that fold and unfold like continuous origami. I know Cassandra Sparks as a thoughtful and steadfast community
Probably
organizer
will be.
and
I appreciate you watching
artist of
that.
disruption, and she has been assisting and urging me to write my memoir, sometimes in a very stern, very enjoyable manner.
Yo.
I will be reading about a memory that is a deep wound, a scene that involves needles. I invite you to take a deep breath when I tell you to, but if you don't consent, that's fine. Don't breathe.
I feel like I shouldn't be listening to this.
I hold a 16-gauge surgical needle over V's chest, a long steel thorn, both imposing and slight. As I move my legs to straddle over his waist.
Hang on. We're going to listen to the softcore porn, or perhaps hardcore porn in a second, but someone has a question, and so questions take priority over the porn. Does the left think about vanilla sex as being under capitalism? For example, a normal heterosexual couple, even if they may still engage in certain kinks amongst themselves? Yeah, I mean, so yes, but so in your example, it would be the normal heterosexual couple that would be the problem, because monogamy for them is a form of propertied relationships. And by the way, if it was a gay relationship, 2 men or 2 women, it would also be the same problem because they consider monogamous relationships to be propertied forms of relationships. Whereas you got to remember, when they're participating in kink and they're participating in leather, oftentimes for them, that takes place in public. So a lot of the early queer activists and gender activists, they were involved in things like the leather scene and the BDSM scene in like San Francisco, where they would go into these BDSM clubs and they'd participate in essentially public sex and all of that stuff. So it's not even just that it's about it's not just about like vanilla sex versus kink. It's about bringing sex into the public. That's one of the things they do is that's queering sex or whatever. So it's about non I guess I should maybe say it this way, and if someone else has a better way to explain it in the chat, sex for them is it's like anti-procreation, anti-normative family, anti-propertied relationship. So it's like they're having sex in public with multiple people doing all of this crazy kinky stuff as a political statement against the capitalist forms of propertied relationships. Does that make sense? Things like marriage, they don't like marriage. They don't like gay marriage either. They don't like monogamy. They prefer polyamory over monogamy. Um, Things like that. Hope that answered your question.
Needle over V's chest, a long steel thorn, both imposing and slight. As I move my legs to strike, I hold a 16-gauge surgical needle over V's chest, a long steel thorn, both imposing and slight. As I move my legs to straddle over his waist, my other hand clutches the base of V's throat, squeezing just enough to slow time through the density of his breaths. Both clad in leather pants, our skins rub, creases grip. My clit piercing lands on Mark. My belt buckle digs into my navel as I lean into the choke, the pressure not altogether uncomfortable. The smell of moist pits and tannins and candle wax fills my nostrils. I release the pressure on V's neck, and he drinks in the thick air. Our faces are intimately close. Lips are open, but we never kiss. Not ever. The tension held between us, a short but immeasurable space, was a negotiation, a power we each, top and bottom, owned. Sadomasochism threads the space between hunger and protocol, desire and denial. I pull away slowly, as if putty stretched between us. I've already prepared V's chest with brown swipes of iodine to medically cleanse the skin and to mark the path of needles.
What the fuck?
Grasping a bare 2 centimeters of fascia between my left thumb and forefinger, the needle is ready to push through one side of the epidermal ridge to the other. Take a deep breath, in through your nose, and let it out slowly through your mouth. A forced but controlled exhale to stoke intention. When I push the needle in, I want you to continue this breath. Imagine a new opening to press in that desire. On the exhale, push out what no longer serves you through the other side. V has heard me say this many times before, but he still listens as the words hold new meaning. His eyelids close to take it in, and then he opens wide on the exhale. When I release my pinch, the skin by his collarbone flattens, but the needle remains, both ends visible. The steel shaft tunnels under, the barrel on one side, bevel on the other. 1 in, 49 to go.
49 needles!
Piercing, V looks into my eyes with an intensity that almost makes my own waver, but I meet their brown-eyed gaze and smirk lest this ritual lose its erotic humor. V's shaved head is slick with sweat. I also feel trails of perspiration running down my neck and under the curve of my breasts, which are bound in tight halter. We don't know it yet, but this will be our last kink ritual together. I inhale, then exhale, pushing in. V asked for 50 needles across his chest, and I am delighted to pincushion him into an altered state of consciousness. The first few needles are slow, lining across the clavicles and spreading downward. We breathe in sync, and then I follow V's rhythm, rapidly piercing when his endorphins are cresting, slowing when we hit a tender point. Soon the needles, so many, glitter across V's skin like scales or spikes of a prehistoric animal, covering the sternum over his lungs that once housed a tumor the size of a golf ball. We are at Switch, a queer kink party at Loy Cachet, a professional kink house in Midtown Manhattan that takes up a whole floor of the commercial building. There are sounds of leather and hands smacking flesh, rubber gloves snapping at the wrist. Yelps and moans and laughter, raucous, giddy laughter drift over the music. The latest Massive Attack album, one song in particular, Teardrop, is on rotation.
I feel like
Always,
I'm on
right?
pins and needles, no
On
pun
the CD
intended.
player, or possibly in my head. My submissive partner and I are entangled on a leather canopy bed in the back room. In place of a fabric tester, a mirror is hung above. V's eyes flicker to my face, then to the mirror image of our bodies, experiencing our placing both in his body and as voyeur. We know this flutter between perceptions, even when there is no mirror. As queer, Asian, and perceived as female, we both wrestle with the
Perceived
interior
as
and social
female.
experiences of our bodies. Sometimes it takes meditation and concentrated breathing to settle into one's own skin. Sometimes it takes needles to pin yourself down. This is a moment of many moments as each needle goes in, stitching a quilt of intention and flesh. This is more than fucking. It's becoming. And with every needle, a spell cast for each of us. I was completely
Yeah, for real. Okay, someone needs to get Jennifer. They're talking about casting a spell by doing a BDSM fucking kink ritual at a sex club. Someone needs to get Jennifer immediately.
sober, and yet I remember feeling as if I was floating, not through the usual high of sadism that I knew well through work and play. I felt as if I was flitting between time and selves. I pushed the next needle in, then the next. V is riding the waves. 20 or so needles in, and I'm saying something, repeating a sentence that doesn't make sense to me. It's not part of a session script or in a usual well-paced, erotic voice. I'm whispering high and frantic. V reaches out to grasp my arm, and I quiet myself so he doesn't have to take care of me while submitting to a ritual intended to strengthen his will, as he will face a month of quarantine and marrow transfusions. Breathe in. Exhale.
Wait. Did she just say that he's like getting cancer treatment? This is the last kink ritual they're doing before he gets cancer treatment? Bro, this is a college. This is a public taxpayer funded college. Why are we listening to a lecture about a kink ritual?
I push the needle in and feel V's hand still on my arm, but my limb feels like it's grown, extended past its skin. Please don't die. Please don't leave me. No longer said aloud, but the words sing in my head with the song lyrics. Love, love, please don't verb. Love is a fearless doing. Gentle impulsion, don't leave me. Breathe in, exhale. I merge and feel I am both V's body and my own, the masochist and the sadist, and I am the needle puncturing time. Breathe in. The years spin backwards. I am 19, pushing a syringe needle loaded with heroin into my best friend's thigh. A small dosage for me, an addict, but just to maintain. But she's never injected before. I don't know that she's already high on pills. Her eyes dilate and Bianca grins, asks if I would make love to her, and I do, moving my mouth down her brown belly, parting her thighs, kissing folds of skin, lost in her large body and soft moans until we fall asleep to dope dreams, dark and heavy. Breathe in, exhale. I wake the next day and her lips are blue. I try to resuscitate, but black bile erupts into my mouth. A dank odor permeates my
She
bedroom.
killed
I'm not
someone?
crying. I won't cry for years. I'm whispering, please don't die. Please don't leave me. But she's already gone, and I will chase Bianca for years. Breathe out. And time spins again.
Wow.
Metal flesh hooks puncture deep into layers of fascia on 8 points of my chest and back. Jute cord tethers me to a tree in Northern California, the Wetchpec lands of the Yurok Native Americans, where the sun floods over my naked body as I am suspended in light and sounds of drumming. Cleo Dubois and Fakir Musafar, elders of the San Francisco Bay leather community, have speared and hoisted me. I've placed my journal on an altar. The book is filled with prayers I had written to make amends with ghosts, that this incredible pain may burn off years of terrors and grant me flight towards life. I am begging myself through the dense and searing agony, but hours later, my feet on the ground, if not my mind, I write in my journal the same words I wrote after skydiving. I don't want to do that ever again.
I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why.